All right, welcome to Residential Drawing 2. This is the first video for the class. I'll explain a little bit about our project that we're going to be working on, and then there'll be plenty of other videos on how we're going to deal with things. You're going to be working on the project. I don't even have the book. Where's my book? Out of the print reading for construction packet that you have, and we're going to be working on the Marseille residential house, which are prints M1 through whatever. Okay, and I've gone ahead and built the model, the walls and the footings for you, or most of it, to kind of speed this thing along a little bit, because building walls is kind of tedious, you know, and I think I've got it pretty well figured out, except for the roof joins. And I would rather you spend time mastering some of these other things instead of just building walls. Okay. And if you look at your plans, where's my foundation plan? If you look at sheet M2, sheet number 2, the foundation plan, it's pretty straightforward with the walls of the house. What I have given you is here. I've got the footers and the foundation walls for the main house. The footers are on this top of footing layer. Top of garage footing are the other, the external footings for the walls and for the garage. And I stopped them where the grade beams go. And you will be putting in the grade beams as part of the exercise, because we're going to focus this class a little bit more on structural entities and then mechanical systems also. And the roof will be a pretty complex exercise in itself. So you're going to put these grade beams in, and basically they're a wall with a sloped bottom as a basic, but I'll get into those a little bit later on. The one kind of quirky thing about the foundation plan is this wall here, and a little piece of this wall right here is a 10-inch wall. Okay, and the reason for that is you got a poured slab that sits on top of that wall. But other than that, foundation is pretty straightforward. Here you can see a little bit better here. This one is a 10-inch wall, and this little short piece is a 10-inch wall. If you ever run into this situation where you're doing this and you have to put the footing in under it, and you got two walls of different sizes, but your footing is going to stay the same size, you go ahead and put this one in as an 8-inch wall, like this one. Put your footings in, and then lock your footings, and then come back and edit that one piece of wall to make it a 10-inch wall. That's how I got it to work. Okay, now this, the wall, let me show you what I got set up here. It's an 8-inch thick wall, and with 1-inch rigid insulation on the inside. Okay, the section in the book shows it as an R6 Termex, and that company doesn't exist. But the closest you can get to an R6 rigid is a 1-inch thick insulation. Okay, so I've got that in on the interior finish. It's a substrate or a finish. Okay. This little piece right here is you got, okay, that's in the wall section. I got foundation wall coming up. This is a column. Okay. And as you get into this project, you'll see these things as we're going through it. Okay, so let's go to first floor. We got a lot of different wall types here. You got 6-inch walls with brick veneer, 4-inch walls with brick veneer, 6-inch walls with stone, 4-inch walls with stone. On the inside, we've got some weird thicknesses, some 8-inch thick walls here, some other, kind of unusual things. If you look at your plans, the way that this was dimensioned, and it's a little unusual on the floor plan. Let's just start. Look in the laundry room in the upper right corner. And if you look at the dimension lines, they all go from face of stud to face of stud. Okay. As far as going through the house. Okay, so you just got to remember that all of these interior dimensions are to face of stud. Okay, not center of wall like we normally do, and not to finish face of the wall in most cases. It goes face of stud. Now, if you look at the exterior dimensions, at all of the brick, you see a 4.5-inch dimension from the brick to the face of the stud. Okay, there is a note I think it's on sheet 1 in the general notes that says that the brick should actually overhang the foundation wall by 1/8 of an inch. And the way I've got the walls built and set up for you, the brick and the stone hangs over 1/8 of an inch here. In this wall, doing this one a little differently than we have in the past, in that the sheathing is not part of the core. Okay, so the core is only the stud, however thick the stud might be. Okay, and so we've got the wall already set up. And my reasoning for doing it that way is because if you look at the typical wall sections on sheet 6, it's a little difficult to see, but the wall sheathing comes down over the floor system. So if you look at like the first floor and the second floor systems, the wall sheathing actually comes down over the end header of that floor system. So that's why I put the sheathing outside of the core, so that when you create the floors, you can take the void out of the wall, but it still leaves that sheathing in place. Okay, I hope I explained that clear enough for you there. Okay, so we've got that. Let's talk about levels, because I've got a lot of levels put in here for you. Some are, kind of the normal here, top of footing, top of garage footing. I dropped that one down a little bit because the book shows it at being 2'6" below grade, top of footing. Excuse me. So I dropped that down a few more inches because the plan's going to show that in elevation. Okay. We have the second floor, and then we have a high ceiling in the living room area and the foyer. So we have a high ceiling in there. So we've got a lot of levels set up. And then I put one in right here for the stone dormers. Those two dormers at the front, because that's the height of the full wall where the girder trusses go. And then you've got an arched truss that goes across the top of that. And we got to figure out exactly spacing and height on that. Excuse me.